Welcome. This presentation is for Year 12 parents and for their students, and we're going to be focusing on what the options are for 2021 and beyond. My name's Graham Crosby, I'm Careers Leader at Greater Shepparton, and Marianne Linehan will be joining us shortly to discuss options also. Your child will have received an information pack in Learning Mentor either yesterday or in the coming days, and that will help supplement tonight's information. Thanks, Marianne.
Hello, I'm Marianne Linehan and I'm one of the careers team at Greater Shepparton Secondary College. I'm here to explain what you need to know about employment for 2021. As the saying goes, don't wait for the opportunity, create the opportunity. Most employment outcomes while in Year 12 come from work placement. The benefits are learning on the job training, how to get into a routine of work, stepping out of your comfort zone, networking, teamwork, communication, organisation skills, meeting your future employers and actually seeing if you like the work. Now is the time to update your resume. You are now adults, so consider how your resume is set out. You may like to put your skills and prior work experience above your education. Applying for work not only includes resumes and letters of applications or cover letters, many businesses require you to address selection criteria. This is simply teamwork, communication, ongoing learning, organisation skills and IT skills. Interviews can be daunting, but they don't have to be. Preparation is the key, so make sure you practice your interviewing skills and research the business. Employers love to see that you are interested in them and what they do. Don't let selection criteria scare you away from applying for jobs. You just need to demonstrate that you have experience in the task. Examples of selection criteria are knowledge of the Microsoft suite of products. These are things you use at school every day: PowerPoint, Excel, Publisher. A demonstrated commitment to professional learning and continuous improvement. Give an example of learning you would like to continue. This may be within your current part-time job, obtaining a Cert 3 in retail or hospitality, or you may like to go on to TAFE or university. A demonstrated commitment to quality customer service. Give an example of serving customers in your part-time job. How do you deal with an unhappy customer? What process do you follow? What problem-solving skills do you use? Sound, oral and written communication skills. How do you communicate with people? Do you write emails, letters, memos, texts? Have you made a presentation at school? Do you use Microsoft Teams or Zoom? Awareness of occupational health and safety issues. What are the OH&S policies and procedure you follow in your part-time job? What OH&S have you completed at school? Examples of these include CI card training and Safe at Work certificates. Ability to successfully interact with people from different backgrounds. You attend a multicultural school. Give examples of Harmony Day. Are you bilingual? Can you speak 2 languages? Do you work with a variety of cultures in your part-time job? Volunteering is one of the most powerful things you can do for any application. Giving up your time for nothing is looked upon very highly by employers. Examples of volunteering could include your sporting clubs, working in their canteens, umpiring, running water, or coaching junior sides. You might be involved in a church group. You might tidy up the sports shed at school. You might work in an op shop or read to the elderly in nursing homes. You may choose to volunteer overseas in a gap year opportunity. These could include Camp America or Latitude Global Volunteering. So what are some employment options for 2021? There are many gap year traineeships. These could include working in schools, supporting students, working in an office administration, gardening or maintenance position. How do you organise to apply for a gap year traineeship? You are usually employed by a group trainer, someone like the Apprenticeship Factory. To apply for these, you look out for future information sessions. So simply Google the Apprenticeship Factory. Other organisations to look at for gap year traineeships are MAS National and Kestrel Recruitment. The Defence Force also have gap year traineeships. To be eligible to apply, you need to be an Australian citizen, aged between 18 and 24. You also need to have completed Year 12 and have passes in Year 10, Maths and English. To research Defence Jobs traineeships, go to www.defencejobs.gov.au. As I mentioned earlier, many apprenticeships are gained through completing work experience in your final year of school. If you are a VCE student, this could be taken in the September school holidays. If you are a VCAL student, you have 2 weeks in October to complete work experience. Many employers contact the school to inquire about suitable students for positions. It's important to leave a good impression on all school staff so we can refer you onto employers when they inquire. There are many places you can go to find assistance with employment after leaving secondary school. We've put together some pathways packs for you with information about some of these organisations. They include TAFE Skills and Jobs Centre, MEGT, the Apprenticeship Factory, ATEL, MAS National, Serena Russo Employment, VECI, Kestrel Recruitment and CVGT, just to name a few. If you are a supported student at school, there are organisations that specialise in assisting you to gain work or further training. The Personnel Group, Melinda Wright, 112 to 114 Wyndham Street. Melinda can assist you if you have a condition of any kind that will hinder you from gaining employment. You will need medical evidence to work with Melinda. Weeder Works, Regina Vassi. Regina will work with you if you are an NDIS client. She's at 74 Wyndham Street, Shepparton. So where do you find job opportunities? Online examples include Indeed.com, Jora.com, Seek.com. The Shepparton News on a Tuesday and Friday, Greater Shepparton Secondary College Careers Facebook page, directly to employment agencies, and again your contact details are in your Pathways packs. Or you could cold call employers, pop in and show an employer how interested you are in working for them. There is a lot of competition out there at the moment for positions. So there are 10 things that require zero talent that might put you ahead of the rest. Being on time, your work ethic, your effort, your body language, energy, attitude, your passion for the job. Being coachable, doing extra work, and most importantly, being prepared. We wish you all the best and good luck.
Thanks, Marianne. That's given us a few things to think about. The other main option, apart from direct employment after Year 12, would be pursuing some kind of training or further education. There will be students who plan to have 12 months of employment followed by some education training. We would call those gap year students. But let's look at why you would choose this option and what the options are and how you can actually access these. Firstly, why further training or education? And statistically, we know that formal qualifications do increase job security and earnings. In the current circumstances we find ourselves in, job security and earning potential are becoming things that are being looked at more closely. We also know that further training increases employment options. And we do know that further training can help determine your interest or abilities. That is, by undergoing the training that you're interested in, you will become more familiar with the employment opportunities and be able to transition towards those employment opportunities through the course that you're undertaking. Or you will get, through the training, an opportunity to be able to meet with and prove your worth to potential employers. The main options available in terms of further education and training, well, the obvious one is university. University courses commence with a degree. Sometimes we call those a bachelor's degree. The first course that you undertake in university is referred to as an undergraduate degree. Students who undertake a university course for the first time are often referred to as undergraduate students. Now, most courses at university will require an ATAR as a point of entry. TAFE is another option. And at the moment, some courses and qualifications are indeed free. TAFE offers a range of qualifications from certificate level through to diploma. And some TAFEs have arrangements with universities at degree level so that their diplomas may actually give you credit towards a degree. And the third kind of option, which provides qualifications in the space that TAFE would normally occupy, and sometimes some of the space that universities occupy, is the private providers. So these are private training colleges or private RTOs that deliver training against particular qualifications. An example of an RTO that provides this kind of training locally would be Partners in Training, and you can do a range of different certificate and diploma courses through Partners in Training here in Shepparton. There are others, of course. And then there's a variety of private colleges like JMC Academy. The private colleges tend to focus on a particular field of work, and JMC Academy is focused around sound, movie production, performance. The main TAFE provider obviously is GoTAFE, and the Skills and Jobs Centre is in fact the point of contact with all GoTAFE courses. TAFE provide VET training, vocational education and training. So vocational training is training that's designed for particular jobs or particular industries. For a student who's transitioning from Year 12 towards TAFE, there may not actually be prerequisites for courses, but often students will be required to sit a particular test, a CSPA test, to determine the suitable starting point of the training. So to determine whether they should be starting training in that particular field at Certificate 3 or perhaps Certificate 4, or whether they're suited to going in at a diploma level. Now, having said that, training is progressive. So whilst you might start at a Certificate 3 level in a course, let's say that you're interested in perhaps something in health, heading towards nursing, you might be able to pick up a Certificate 3 in allied health, and then having completed that, you automatically transition across to a Certificate 4 and then into a diploma. So you can start anywhere and move upwards through qualifications. Mention that TAFE training can be free. There's a arrangement through the Victorian Government for free TAFE, and they are targeted against particular areas, and those areas are industries or occupations where there's deemed to be a shortage. Now, you can only access one free TAFE course. So if you're considering starting a career in health, but you're going to start in Certificate 3, Certificate 3 is a shorter course than is the diploma. So you might not choose to undertake your free training with the Certificate 3. You might wait until you transition into the diploma, until you've progressed to the diploma, and then the diploma might be that free course that you access. In terms of TAFE and private providers, most actually require direct application. There are some TAFE courses across Victoria which you can apply through VTAC, but the majority you require an application that you would complete directly with that particular TAFE or that particular private provider. Another factor to consider is that the majority of 2021 courses will start in March, so that's the start of the year intake, but many courses have a mid-year intake also. So if a student was to miss out on entry into the intake for a Diploma of Nursing at Goulburn Ovens TAFE for argument's sake, they may be able to then reapply and apply for the July cohort. Now, to apply for higher education in Victoria, you do that through an organisation called VTAC. VTAC are the Victorian Tertiary's Admission Centre. They handle applications for all universities plus some TAFE and private providers, usually at the diploma or degree level. VTAC also, apart from handling the applications, have a process of special consideration called Cs, which allows students to have some consideration given to factors that have impacted on them gaining the results that they have. Cs won't change your ATAR, the ranking that you get at the end of your Year 12 VCE, but it will actually change the way that universities view that particular ATAR. So it's sort of like you might have an ATAR of 63 with an asterisk. And that asterisk then gets the universities to have a look at, okay, the student had all of these factors go wrong in their Year 12 year or perhaps earlier. And those things then impacted on them achieving the results they have. So whilst they may have got that particular ATAR, they probably would have done better had those circumstances not come into play. VTAC also handles scholarships. Now, they don't handle scholarships for every university and every scholarship within a university, but they handle the vast majority of scholarships. And when I say handle, what I'm talking about here is that there is a single application that students can do for scholarships through VTAC, which in fact will be shared across universities in their applications and allow them to be considered for an array of different scholarships that they may be eligible for. And finally, and this is the most important one for most students, VTAC are the organisation who actually distribute the offers for places from the universities, TAFEs and private providers who have courses registered with them. Now, the process of applying through VTAC is a convoluted one. It's actually straightforward when you've been through it a few times, but for most parents in this environment, it will be quite confusing. So I can assure you that your child will have access to lots of support, and you will also have access to lots of support. The thing about applying through VTAC for courses is that the majority of VTAC course options, so that is, universities promote courses to Year 12 students, and the courses that they're promoting to Year 12 students through VTAC require an ATAR. Now, an ATAR is only able to be achieved with a scored result in VCE. So that can actually mean that for a VCAL student, there are few available course options via VTAC. We have had students and will have students who will apply through VTAC but completed VCAL, and the reason will be they have a particular course in mind, and that particular course can be applied through VTAC. The students will be fully supported by career practitioners and their neighbourhood leader. We'll have a series of meetings and presentations, mainly during Learning Mentor time, but given the COVID environment, and obviously this presentation is an example where we've had to do it online, most of these presentations will in fact be online, pre-recorded, and your student will have access to being able to replay them, have a look at them again, recheck the details. The process of investigating VTAC and the various things within VTAC that students can apply for will start next week. And it'll start next week with a presentation in Learning Mentors via an online video. There will be a VTAC presentation conducted by themselves available for parents. Now, we don't have the details of the date of that at the moment, but rest assured that as soon as that becomes available, we will share that with you. Now, that information session will be really quite useful and be far more expansive than what we can give in tonight's presentation, and it'll be useful for those people who are interested in applying for university. The vast majority of courses that are promoted through VTAC are courses that do require an ATAR. Now, an ATAR is only achievable if you complete VCE with scored results. So therefore, there aren't that many options available to students who've completed VCAL, but there are indeed some. And in fact, last year and probably this year, we will have students who have completed VCAL who will apply for specific courses through VTAC that will have different entry requirements other than an ATAR. Through this process, your student will be fully supported by careers practitioners across the campuses, as well as their neighbourhood leader. We will be conducting a series of meetings and presentations during Learning Mentor time, and as you understand, with the current circumstances of COVID, and indeed the reason that this presentation is being conducted online at the moment, these presentations that we do with the students will in fact be pre-recorded and available online. So students will be able to watch it at the time in their Learning Mentor, but they'll be able to refer to it later via going to the link and reviewing it. There'll be notes available that will fully explain each step of the process, and we will be starting with that next week when we look at a thing called Course Search, which is VTAC's vehicle for searching for courses with particular interest areas. There will of course be a parent information session specific to VTAC, and that will be conducted by VTAC as we've previously mentioned. The date for that is just being determined by VTAC, and we will certainly promote that to you through the Facebook page, through Compass, and any other means that we can get information to you, like the newsletter. Applications for VTAC open officially on August the 3rd, and the timely applications close on September the 30th. So that's about 10 to 11 weeks the student has to be able to get what's called a timely application in. So a timely application just refers to one that's entered in the right or the expected time frame, and the advantage of that is that it's a cheaper application. You're invoiced according to the date that your application goes in, not the date where you change your preferences or not the date when you pay your invoice. The students have until December, early December I believe it is, to be able to pay the fee required for their VTAC application, and a timely application fee is $41. If they submitted their application, say on the 1st of October, after the timely applications close, the fee ramps up to about $100+. And they can even still get their application in if they haven't previously done an application as late as December or January, but of course the fee ramps up even further. Results won't come out until December 30th, which is not ideal. It's after the students finish, obviously just before New Year, the public holiday with New Year. Those dates have been pushed back because the exam schedule was pushed back with the current circumstances. There's nothing we can do about that, but rest assured that we will be making every effort to be able to provide support to your child. Offers for the university places from the first round of offers, there are a series of rounds of offers, but the first round of offers come out on January the 14th in 2021. The actual application, we won't go through a great deal of detail here, but the actual application that a student puts in gives them the option for 8 preferences. Those preferences can be changed as many times as they want. As soon as they've submitted an application in, they go back 24 hours later and change it. They could change it 10 times a week if they wanted to. That makes no difference at all. Offers are made in the order of their preferences. So this is what the course preference page looks like in their application. You'll see that those courses are numbered. Those numbers refer to a preference. So the universities will get your child's application in the order of their preferences. So University 1 will look at the application and look at the child's ATAR and their results and say, okay, we're not going to make you an offer at this particular stage, and then it will go on to the second university or the second course, and they'll go through that process again. Now, students can get offers in subsequent rounds, and they could be higher preferences. You would only ever be offered something that was higher in your preferences. After a round has finished, they can change their preferences around too. Cease. Now, cease, remember, is the special consideration, those factors that have impacted on education. And a cease application has 4 different categories to it. Category 1 is one that all Greater Shepparton Secondary College students should complete. And in fact, to complete Category 1, all it takes is to tick a box. And by ticking that box, it means that VTAC can share with the universities details of the student's address, as in that from a regional centre, what school they attended, what their gender is, whether English is their second language, whether they are Indigenous or not. And all of those factors are taken into account by universities through different programs to provide opportunities. So if your child doesn't tick that box, they may well miss out on an opportunity that they're certainly qualified for. For instance, the program that Monash University has is called Monash Guarantee, and that allows students from regional areas to be able to access courses at a lower ATAR. And if the student hasn't ticked Category 1, then the university won't know where they're from. So therefore, they would miss out on those kinds of offers. Category 2 takes into account those financial factors that may have impacted on the child's education. Category 3 is all things medical, whether they're physical or mental health. And they can be factors that have affected them only this year or in the short term, or they could be factors that have affected them over their lifespan. And Category 4 basically covers every other area. Within that category are things like students who have been affected by family relocating, or through difficult family circumstances, or maybe a child that has to be a carer for others in their family. It also covers things that all students are affected by currently, and that is through the COVID. Now, everybody during the period of COVID restrictions has been affected in different ways. In Category 4, it provides an opportunity for students to be able to identify those particular factors that have affected them, and those effects may be from the minor to the quite severe, and there is scope within that CEASE application to be able to recognise that. The scholarship application is a single application across most universities. It's not all universities. For instance, it won't cover scholarships for ACU, which is the Australian Catholic University. That's a national university, so they have their own process where students apply for scholarships directly. But for universities like La Trobe and Melbourne and Monash, Deakin and others, completing that one single application will mean that those universities will get to see the scholarship application of that particular student. It's really important you understand that not all scholarships are academic. The academic scholarships are very easy to work out. They'll be based on ATAR or results in particular subjects against study scores. Many are equity scholarships. That is, they're scholarships that have been designed by the university or by benefactors through the university to target supporting students who have special factors that should be considered. And it might be that they are students who've come from a particular area, or it might be students who've come from a particular background, a whole range of different scholarships that are available that are on the basis of providing equity or fairness. Many of the equity scholarships have similar documentation requirements to CEASE. So with CEASE, students in some categories are required to make an impact statement where they say, this is what affected me, this is how it affected me, and somebody else would provide documentation, a responsible adult would provide documentation that supports their application. It says, yes, I know John Smith, I'm aware that these circumstances happened to them in 2017, and I believe that it has impacted on their education. Finally, tonight's obviously been a very long one, and there's lots and lots of information, and I would completely understand if you felt like your head was about to explode, but there are further opportunities to be able to get more information or to be able to clarify questions. I think one of the greatest resources you can access are those that are available through VTAC, the online presentation which we will promote heavily through the Facebook page, through Compass, and also via the newsletter. The VTAC website is fantastic. Spend some time on there. You can get details about scholarships, about CEASE. You can do a search for courses that are on there and find out the information about how universities select who they're going to give offers to. And they've got a great YouTube channel. You can just Google for that, with explanatory videos on every aspect of VTAC. So that's core search, that's also scholarships and CEASE, registering for an account, changing your preferences, you name it, they've got stuff on there for. The Greater Shepparton Secondary College careers.com is probably the greatest of the options for further information. It has links to everything. In the post-school options menu, you'll be able to find links to every university. You'll be able to find links to their accommodation arrangements. You'll be able to access information through a widget at the bottom left-hand side of the front page of that website, where you can do a search for scholarships, where you can do a search for courses or a search for occupations. And of course your child has their own individual account that they can log into there and access further information. So it's a really important website. These presentations obviously have been done because of the current circumstances, and those online pre-recorded presentations will be available to your child to be able to access initially in learning mentor sessions, but later on when they need further clarification. There'll be supporting notes that I'll be producing that go along with those. Our presentations actually start next week, and we'll be looking at course search in that. There'll be other presentations on applying online, CEASE, scholarships, accommodation options. Those presentations will go about 15 to 20 minutes at a time, but the support notes will go along and help the child beyond that. The careers team are very important, obviously, at each of our campuses, so make sure that you access the support of them if you require it. You can do so through Microsoft Teams or via email. Neighbourhood leaders, your child's neighbourhood leader is going to be an important part of your child's application, particularly with things like CEASE and scholarships, and they will provide a good objective support for you and for your child. The universities and the TAFEs themselves have most of their open days, and their course explanation information is being provided for online, obviously because of the current circumstances. So you can do a search for just about anything with the universities. Every fortnight I produce a Senior Careers News which has information about some of those activities, and in the other fortnights there is something in the newsletter that goes out also. I hope all of that's been quite useful. I understand if you're completely overwhelmed by all of this information, but hopefully not.